Hey fans, fighters, subscribers and YouTubers, and welcome to the most spectacular fighting show on YouTube, fighters that will always be remembered. This show includes documentary stories of famous boxers, UFC fighters and K1 fighters that left an undeletable trail in their sport and should always remain known and famous for their achievements. Please follow episodes, send your propositions to my Facebook, and make sure that your fighter gets the next story. Hello and welcome. This show talking about Mark the Hammer Coleman, retired American mixed martial artist, professional wrestler, former NCAA collegiate wrestler and former Olympic amateur wrestler. He is known as the Hammer. He was UFC 10 and UFC 11 champion, and also he is a godfather of ground and pound. When holding guard like this and going ground, pound, hammering, hammer fists, this is something that was given the name by his way of behavior. And Mark the Hammer Coleman was really one of the fighters that left an undeletable trail in the UFC. He is credited with proving the ability of wrestlers to dominate in the developing sport of mixed martial arts, with being one of the first in American MMA to successfully use the strategy that he coined: ground and pound. Let's talk about him. Born December 20, 1964, Fremont, Ohio, United States. Nickname I told, the Hammer. Nationality American. Height 6'1", weight 205 pounds, 93 kilograms. Division light heavyweight and earlier heavyweight. Reach 191 centimeter. Fighting out of Columbus, Ohio. Years active 1996-2010. In MMA. Mixed martial records. This is probably something you mostly wanna hear about Mark the Hammer Coleman. 16 wins by knockout, 4 by submission, 8 by decision, 4. 10 losses, 3 by knockout, 5 by submission, 2 by decision. Actually, he was one of the guys that had so many previous successes. His best success is second place in 100 kg division in FILA Wrestling World Championship in Varna, Bulgaria, and placing 7th overall in 1992 Summer Olympics in Barcelona, Spain. Now, let's talk about his MMA. Versus Moti Horenstein, his first fight. In UFC 10, I gotta say, there were no complete fighters like there are today, really. And I need to say that fighters were pretty much distinctive, pretty much different these days. Fighters were having so many incomplete fighting styles. He had easier job, really. Moti Horenstein defeated via submission punches. Gary Goodrich in the same tournament had to withdraw from the match because of the exhaustion. And Don Fry, this is the first match probably that I remember Mark Hammer Coleman that was really tough. Don the Predator Fry, in their first match, Coleman was holding him down. He held him down and he was just hammer, hook. And Coleman was able to fight him really hard. And Don Fry really had no choice. I mean, he was bleeding, his face looked like, I don't know what to say. He had to withdraw. In later fights, on September 20, 1996, this was all on July 12th, Julian Sanchez victory by choke, Brian Johnston submission punches, and Dan Severn. Dan Severn, one of the strongest guys ever to compete in the world of UFC, wrestler versus wrestler. Coleman won versus Scarfold headlock. He won UFC heavyweight championship unified with super fight championship. Gotta say, Mark the Hammer Coleman was having the best days then, those days. At the next fight, he started to go pretty much downwards. Lost to Morris Smith via an anonymous decision and lost to Pete Williams. This is the first time ever losing via head kick, and Mark the Hammer Coleman received a strong right high kick, placing him on the ground, sending him via extremely heavy KO. Pedro Rizzo won him via split decision Nobuhiko Takada won him via submission heel hook. This is the first time Mark the Hammer Coleman was ever fighting in the Pride Fighting Championship. 2 rounds, 10 minutes. Masaki Satake won via neck. He was won via neck crank. Akira Shoji unanimous decision. Kazuyuki Fujita TKO corner stoppage. And about fight versus Igor Vovchanchin. I remember this fight pretty much solidly. He was holding him in the corner. Mark holding him in the corner, holding him like this over his body, and this was not south position. He was kneeing him. Vovchanchin was holding his hand like this, but Coleman was very strong with the knees and going with the knees strongly. He won Pride Fighting Championship 2000 via this submission due to the knees. Angos, TKO knees. Pride 16 fight versus Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira. Well, gotta say, Antonio was only waiting Coleman to take him down. Coleman took him down and he went via triangle armbar. He placed his legs here, extended his arm, and this is the reason why Coleman lost. Rematch versus Dom Fry, unanimous decision on Pride Fighting Championship, 3 rounds, 5 minutes. Well, Coleman was pretty much more active. Fight versus Fyodor Emelianenko. He had 2 fights versus Fyodor, but submission armbar. You know what? Fyodor is a very strong guy, an extreme technician. This was opening round Pride 2004, and he was able to defeat him very brutally. Also in 2005. Mirko Cro Cup. You remember this from my first video, really. In the first video, Mirko Cro Cup was not letting Mark the Hammer Coleman take him down. Coleman was trying, but Mirko hit him really strong. He went combination and this right uppercut sent him down. Mirko kicked him one more time. Referee had to stop. Later came a bit better period for Mark the Hammer Coleman. Milko Warren won via arm triangle choke. Mauricio Shogun Rua. He was defeated via broken arm. Coleman thrown him really hard when he hit the ground. This arm was broken in the elbow. It was a pretty much solid fracture and the referee had to stop. Only 49 seconds, which I think is probably one of the fastest victories of Mark the Hammer Coleman, if not the fastest. Again, fight versus Fyodor Emelianenko. In this fight, Fyodor also won via armbar. Later, Mauricio Shogun Rua was able to revenge and defeat him really brutally. This is the first time Coleman went to light heavyweight via TKO punches. In the 3rd round, 4 minutes 36 seconds, he was punching, and Coleman was defeated and fight had to be stopped. Stephen Bonar was win via unanimous decision. The last fight of the career versus Randy Couture, light heavyweight bout. First UFC Hall of Famer versus UFC Hall of Famer in UFC history. And Randy Couture won via technical submission, rear naked choke, UFC 109, February 6, 2010. This is the last time Mark Coleman ever fought in the world of UFC. This was his last fight and Couture made sure that he wins. Actually, Mark the Hammer Coleman, after going over 3 years without competing, he announced via Facebook that he has officially retired from MMA completion at 48 years of age. One of the oldest guys ever fought in the world of UFC, also Randy Couture, Dan Severn. There are also many guys. In personal life, Coleman has 2 daughters. He appeared in the documentary The Smashing Machine, The Life of Times of Mark Kerr, alongside fellow fighter and former friend Mark Kerr. In June 2006, it was announced that Coleman was one of the new coaches in the International Fighting League, but unable to assemble a team, he was replaced by Ken Shamrock. Coleman acknowledges former UFC welterweight champion, UFC lightweight champion BJ Penn as his idol in the sport of mixed martial arts. Gotta say, this was an amazing career. Mark the Hammer Coleman really left an undeletable trail in the world of UFC, and I'm pretty much, despite I hate wrestlers and I don't like this fighting style, I gotta say, this guy really deserved his place in the UFC Hall of Fame. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and subscribe us on YouTube. Send us your propositions to make sure to see your favorite fighter in this show. Thanks, and see you all in the next episode.